to colleagues in the field, and we've had the opportunity to engage some administrators and ask them what they think of when they hear the term school improvement, and what thoughts that brings to mind. And we want to thank our participants for their thoughtful feedback as we've been informally questioning and gauging the perspectives of those in the field. And we especially want to thank our administrator group from Royal Oak. They were really thoughtful in their feedback that they provided to us. So thank you to those administrators. So ultimately, what does school improvement encompass? It's really a long-range planning tool and using trend data to measure progress over time. School improvement allows for educators to gather and analyze data both in a formative and summative fashion for the intended purpose of improving student learning. School improvement drives professional development related to each teacher as a learner and their professional performance and their needs to move forward professionally. School improvement sets a very clear purpose statement for our schools and districts with clearly defined and measurable expectations. School improvement processes and the clarity around goals in our systems helps to create a learning culture, one with a growth mindset where we can promote creativity and innovation and really try to use collaboration and problem solving to support our students and our systems. School improvement provides a mechanism for ongoing feedback on our programs and the monitoring and ensures that we monitor them about their performance and progress. And ultimately, school improvement requires an emphasis on continuous improvement, and it requires all administrators to adhere to some of the policies, timelines, and expectations to provide that support to get the most out of it and really leverage that as an effective tool to move schools and districts forward. So let's take another moment to think, pause and reflect here. When you think of school improvement and building your school improvement team, which members of your staff are most critical to be part of your school improvement team? So share with the group, how do you build your school improvement team and what members are on that team? Take a moment to respond, please. Go ahead and scroll through those responses so you can see what your peer group is responding about how they make up their team. It looks like there's really an emphasis on having a broad stakeholder group beyond just administrators, but also one that includes teacher leaders and some different stakeholder groups. What a great way to encourage input and to increase the buy-in towards some of these key initiatives that we have in our district to increase that stakeholder participation. So kudos to you for thinking creatively and bringing lots of members to that conversation. So as you've been working with school improvement, you'll recognize the graphic that we have on the slide today. So our Michigan School Improvement Framework focuses around the action steps of gather, study, plan, and do. In the gather and study step, that's when we're collecting and analyzing important data and helping to set some district and building goals for student performance and how we want to grow our students' learning and comprehension. During the planning step, as we develop our district and school improvement plans alongside our Title I plans, we include plans to address the instructional framework as well as how we're going to analyze that data and support teacher evaluation tools as a method to help support our educators' growth. During the do step, we're implementing those plans and then using the formative feedback cycle and continuous improvement cycle to measure our progress as well as to build professional practice and capacity. And ultimately, summative evaluation will occur with respect to district plans, school level plans, and individual education professionals within that do step of the plan. So as we're continuing to make some connections between school improvement and the educator evaluation system, we're going to be talking about setting data-informed goals. And when we're setting data-informed goals, all goals should really be informed using some common data points that are collected and analyzed for different evaluative purposes. And that those goals and those data sources can help us develop our district-level plans as well as our building-level school improvement plans, all the way down to the individual level when we're developing educator plans to be included within the evaluation process. All of those goal-setting processes should be informed by data and common data sources that are valued by the members of the team. So where do these data points come from? In addition to our comprehensive needs assessment, the data points can also come from your local assessment system. The planning process begins with the required comprehensive needs assessment. The CNA is critical to developing a school-wide program, and it reveals the priority areas on which your program will focus. The CNA guides the development of the comprehensive school-wide plan and suggests benchmarks for evaluating the plan. And these benchmarks are closely linked to all aspects of the school-wide program implementation. The comprehensive needs assessment is based on demographic data, process data, perception data, and academic data that includes all students in the school, including economically disadvantaged students, students from major racial and ethnic groups, subgroups, especially African American and Hispanic males, students with disabilities, limited English proficient students, homeless and migrant students, and students achieving in the lowest 30%, as well as emerging groups and others. A school operating a school-wide Title I program must conduct a comprehensive needs assessment that identifies the school's strengths and challenges in key areas that affect student achievement. The data collection and analysis process should include the identification of achievement gaps and possible causes for these gaps. An examination of how demographic, process, and perception data impact student achievement should be continuous. At a minimum, data should be collected, reviewed, analyzed, and evaluated annually. The accompanying rubric that drives the school improvement process is designed to assist schools and districts as a self-evaluation tool to measure the quality of the school's needs assessment. It can be used as a voluntary tool to help with the development of a quality comprehensive needs assessment to guide the school-wide planning process. Data from the CNA should be used to write the school improvement plan and drive all decisions related to identifying goals, strategies, activities, staffing, professional development, and even the development of your budget. An additional evidence source can come from the ways that we measure student learning. We know that as far as educator evaluation is concerned, legislatively we're anticipating an increase in the percentage of the student growth aspect of the evaluation during the 2018-19 school year, where we shift from 25% of the overall evaluation to be based on student growth outcomes to the increased level of 40% based on student learning outcomes. And as part of this change in legislation or this legislative progression, it drives home the importance of using local assessment data which really creates an opportunity for teacher autonomy and decision-making in the measurement of student growth for their evaluation. These measures can and should go beyond traditional standardized year-end assessments to include performance assessments, capstone projects, or interim and unit assessments. It all depends on what the LEA seeks to measure. For example, a math teacher might include assessment data from a unit study in their evidence portfolio to demonstrate student growth related to a specific topic or concept, while another professional, like a guidance counselor, might incorporate attendance records and college application rates in their evaluation portfolio. Ultimately, multiple measures of student learning, growth, and achievement must be comparable across similarly situated educators and must include state assessment data when applicable, and we're going to call that grades 4 through 8 ELA and math that will have that MSTEP data available, as well as include any district-determined measures that are valuable to the district. The bottom line here is that within this process and with this legislation creates an opportunity for districts to support teacher autonomy. What conversations can you engage in that will allow teachers to be in the driver's seat of this process? Your data sources should help explain what's the story behind the numbers, and you can include artifacts and measures of student learning that provides educators with a unique opportunity to frame the nature of their own evaluation and to use this evidence of student learning to tell a story of their professional growth and the progress made by their students. So as we go out and we talk to districts about measurement of student growth for educator evaluation, oftentimes the first question we receive is, what assessment should we use? And while as a state department we're not able to advocate for or promote or certify specific assessments for this use of for their use within educator evaluations, we do have some unique survey data that was collected by Northern Michigan University as part of a large research project that was grant funded through the Michigan Department of Education. The information on this slide gives some information about the survey responses that Northern Michigan University collected from about 1,200 teachers. Oh, there it is. Actually, it's 1,700 now that I look at the slide. Public school educators in the summer of 2017. And you can see, just to get a perspective here, it looks like a large number of the respondents indicated that they were using the NWEA assessment to help measure student growth for educator evaluation. A large group of respondents also talk about using pre-post tests. And then again, more teachers using standardized testing like the MSTEPs and the pre-SAT as another data source. So we have some really great educator evaluation research studies that were conducted. Northern Michigan University was one of our partners in that. We also have several of those research projects done by the Marzano Research Group as well as Ray Taylor and Associates. And those are all publicly available on our michigan.gov educator evaluation website, and we'll show you that link here in a little bit, but you can find more information about the measures that different districts are using to accomplish this goal of measuring student growth for educator evaluation. Okay, as we're talking about goals and data sources, really we want to drive home the importance of goal setting, and we know that solid instruction begins with being informed of student data and where our students are currently performing. And then ultimately, the follow-up action to that data review is the development of targeted goals and then aligning our instructional practices with those goals to best support our students. Research notes that about the importance and value of teachers setting academic goals for students. Teacher goal setting reinforces several teaching best practices, including setting goals for students, using data to assess student progress, and adjusting instruction based on what progress is demonstrated by our students. Those are all effective practices that can be supported through the goal-setting process. Measuring student growth can formalize good teaching by requiring each of these steps. They promote conversations between educators and their evaluators around student results, which can ultimately foster improved teaching practice and student learning. Additionally, goal setting defines for teachers how they measure, work toward, and celebrate their professional success. Goal setting can reinforce a growth mindset, one of continuous improvement focused on supporting more students to make more progress more of the time. And here's another graphic that we want to share with you. This graphic is actually one that we've borrowed from the Massachusetts Department of Education, where they've defined this 5-step process to drive continuous improvement. The goal of this process is to provide educators with a continuous opportunity for professional growth and development through some self-directed reflection and analysis, some goal setting and planning with action steps, and also an emphasis on collaboration. Regular constructive feedback from the evaluator, coupled with opportunities to reflect on and improve practice, drive this cycle from the beginning to the end. Self-assessment is the first step here, which is informed by the previous year's summative assessment, followed by proposed goals for professional practice and student learning. During the goal setting and educator plan development stage, an educator would use their self-assessment to develop proposed goals and share those with their evaluator for approval early on in the evaluation cycle. While we're implementing in this educator plan, we're pursuing the goals and we're collecting evidence of practice. Teachers are receiving timely feedback for improvement and timely access to the plan supports, as well as collection of evidence and progress towards the goals through their classroom observations, announced and unannounced. During the formative assessment and evaluation stage of the cycle, this generally occurs mid-year and is really a tool to prompt reflection and promote dialogue between educators and evaluators, to consider any changes that need to be made to instructional practice or professional growth goals or the planned activities that we're going to support that professional growth. That's the time to check in and make adjustments as appropriate. And ultimately, we want to align this formative check-in process with the summative assessments that are used for student growth goals. Finally, the last stage in the process is the summative evaluation, and this is often the part of the process that gets the most attention because of the end-of-year rating that comes along with it. But we believe that this is just one step of the process, and the others are equally, if not more, important. But ultimately here, evaluators are going to analyze the evidence that demonstrates the educator's performance against the identified standards of your adopted framework, as well as looking at the evidence of whether the teacher or educator met their professional growth goals and their student growth goals, and ultimately will result in an overall performance rating of highly effective, effective, minimally effective, or ineffective. We're going to transition now to looking at using data to promote a learning-centered culture to drive the feedback cycle.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again, and this is Michelle with you. First of all, what I would like to say is when we take a look at the continuous cycle that Joe just talked about, there's various aspects, and we're trying to provide a very broad background and get you ready for your SIPs and your DIPs. We know that this is the time of year where you're going to start analyzing the data, and so we wanted to provide this broad umbrella to get you really thinking, and we're going to, as we go through the rest of the webinar this morning with you, we're going to really broaden your reach and pull in some big pieces for you to wrap your arms around and have you working with your school improvement teams. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started in taking a look at data and really driving improvement in your culture. Working with your data analysis teams, first of all, when you're meeting with your teachers, which you're going to be doing now, just be thoughtful and engaging and in framing your conversations around data and framing that in a meaningful way. Please remember to keep in mind that oftentimes teachers have anxiety around conducting these meetings. That will be heightened. Consider maybe perhaps what you can do to coach through these data analysis meetings in a manner that renders high rewards. Take a look at the slide for us, please. Consider letting the data do the talking. Remember, the data is the student voice in the room. Allow the teacher an opportunity to consider doing the talking for you. And remember, don't allow an opportunity for ideology to waylay the meeting. Don't allow that to happen and be caught up in that moment. Remember that you have to let yourself allow for coaching to kick in and allow that to be the mechanism to run an effective meeting. Make sure that you also have a concrete plan. In moving forward, often our teachers may not know what data exactly is necessary to grow a meaningful conversation with you as the administrator. This is a perfect opportunity to consider what professional development may be necessary so that all teachers have a high degree of competency and understanding in analyzing high-yield data. Make sure that they have an opportunity in advance of the meeting to really dig deep on the data, and make sure that they have an opportunity to take ownership of that data. Did they have a chance to mark it up in advance? And making sure that that piece is owned moving forward, and making sure that they have an opportunity to move forward with you and speak with proficiency regarding how students are performing, what can be done differently, and if they had an opportunity to go back and reteach any of those lessons and provide additional feedback to parents, to you, and to the students. As we move forward, we would be remiss if we didn't take an opportunity to talk about feedback and observations, as they are right around the corner, and we wanted to make sure to have you make an opportunity to connect. As we know, this time of year gets very busy. Not only are you preparing for your SIPs, but you're also well underway in doing your observations and getting you ready for those conferences. Making sure that you are providing bite-sized, actionable steps for improvement can be immediate, and making sure that you are providing teachers exactly what they need to improve upon is going to be paramount. Feedback sessions and conferences should not be done via email. Remember, high-yield conferences should be done face-to-face. This will allow you the opportunity to become a coach and to provide them with actionable steps so that they can really be able to take those points for improvement and be able to use them in the classroom the very next day. Remember that you want to improve student learning, so in order to do that, think about those opportunities to reduce their anxiety, to sit and be a thought partner with them. And remember, in order to do that, that may make for a moment to have an awkward conversation. You know about instructional pedagogy, but understandably they know their content area, they know their grade level area, so consider having that conversation in a manner where you recognize their area of expertise or content area, and show them the respect that they earn as a professional, and shoulder up with them and partner up with them and see what bridge you may be able to cross together in moving student achievement forward. In order to be ready to coach your teacher, be sure that you have clearly communicated out to your teachers what it is you are expecting in the feedback meeting from them. This piece will help your teachers to prepare for the format of the meeting. How is it that you would like to see how they have reflected on their goals? Should they perhaps write a reflective piece in advance of the meeting? We are seeing this more across the state. Our colleagues out in the field have shared with us, the teachers are asked to write a reflective piece. Is this something that you would like them to do? If so, be sure that you are setting that norm and setting that standard and clearly communicating that piece out. Or would you rather that they be prepared to discuss this in detail with you during that feedback meeting? If adjustments were made to the plan, how were those adjustments made? Would you, as the administrator, like to see evidence, or would you rather they just be able to have that conversation with you in detail? Making sure that the feedback conference is focused on goals, the action plan, and remember to always make sure that the data is there and looking for results and being action-oriented. In considering professional development, making sure that you are considering meeting the needs of all the professionals that you have on staff. How have you teamed up your new teachers with mentor teachers, and what type of teacher induction have you considered, whether that be at the district level for those of you who are central office administrators, or what type of induction have you done at the school level or at the building level? How have you partnered up with that individual? What kind of culture and preparation have you done? And in thinking about next year, that's just around the corner as well. Is there a focus on PLCs or job-embedded professional development? These are all things that you are going to need to consider as well, and those kind of initiatives might also be included in your school improvement plan. When you're considering the professional development continuum, consider targeted professional development on your evaluation tool. Remember, in order for this to be a natural, reoccurring process, seamless so that it fits in with your entire work that you are doing within the district, this is something that needs to be revisited. You also need work, for those of you who are central office administrators, on inter-rater reliability for your administrators, and that also needs to be considered at the district level on your district improvement plan. Consider ongoing building and district-wide targeted professional development trainings. Consider what initiatives you are undertaking and consider writing that into your school improvement plans as well. 5 steps to ensuring a professional development plan for each professional. We wanted to make sure that you were able to keep this piece simple and easy to follow. So as you are considering your school improvement plan, working with your team, here's 5 easy steps for you to consider. And I'm not going to read the slide to you. You are all well versed in following 5 easy steps. And we're going to go ahead and move to our next slide. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at our next poll question, which leads into this taking ownership of the process. For too long, educators have argued that systems intended to evaluate their performance were being imposed on them, rather than being collaboratively developed with their input. Regardless of the system used to evaluate educators, simply evaluating teachers and principals will not change practice or improve the expertise and skills necessary to improve student learning. There must be a link between the data gleaned from teacher evaluations and quality professional development. Our next response question, how can you ensure you are leveraging the system to include a quality professional development plan that not only meets the needs of each professional within your building, but also aligns to your school improvement plan or your district improvement plan? And again, we're asking you to go ahead and consider that and post that in the chat. Thank you so much for your thoughtful responses and your high level of engagement this morning. I really appreciate it, especially on a Friday morning, so thank you for that. And I know that question really has you thinking broadly, especially on how to really think about the people that you have on staff and how to meet all their needs. So again, thank you for your high level of engagement this morning. I'm going to ask that you keep plugging away and consider the responses of your colleagues that have joined us this morning. But we're going to go ahead and continue with the webinar as we move forward. We're going to talk a little bit about educator evaluation and some key components just to kind of bring you up to speed and make sure for those of you who haven't had an opportunity to join us before, consider multiple measures of student growth. Student growth may be the portion of the evaluation that creates the most angst, especially for administrators and quite honestly for our teachers. But when we keep in mind that the main purpose of the evaluation system is to improve educator practice, to see growth in student outcomes, we can approach this element of the evaluation with much more thoughtfulness and less fear. A few measures that may include research-based growth measures, alternative assessments that are rigorous and comparable across schools within the school district or intermediate school district or public school academy, nationally normed or locally adopted assessments that are aligned to state standards, student learning objectives, or achievement of individualized education program goals. Efficacious evaluation systems positively impact student outcomes. Classroom teachers have the greatest impact of any system-controlled factor on student achievement. After that, 25% comes with principles on how they impact student achievement. And I want to share that with you because oftentimes we are, as administrators, spinning so many plates and the responsibilities that you bear that oftentimes you sometimes forget the impact that you make. So I just wanted to kind of share that piece out with you and applaud your efforts as you continue spinning your plates. So thank you for all the hard work that you are doing on behalf of the students and the communities that you serve. So just remember how much work you are doing to grow the capacity of those that you serve. We have a real quick poll question for you. How much influence do you feel the teachers in your building or district have on owning their evaluation? Thank you again for your comments and your feedback and your high level of engagement. And I'm going to ask that you keep posting your responses and you take a look at what your colleagues have shared out as well. And we're going to continue on with sustainability and building high levels of sustainable systems. As we move forward, what I wanted to share with you is, as Joe mentioned earlier in the webinar, we've been taking a lot of research and digging into the Massachusetts system. And you may have heard over the last week or two Michigan has been compared quite honestly to Tennessee and to Massachusetts, is they have outperformed us, and we've been digging into Massachusetts quite a bit here in our unit. And the next few slides that I will be sharing out, really I wanted to just share these with you just so that you could download these, print them off, and post them in your office somewhere, share them with your school improvement team, just as a quick reminder on how to gather materials quickly. They're really just a reference piece for you, and I like them because they were quick, easy, and fast information, especially if you have new school improvement team members. I like the fact that they were just quick reference pieces. So what I appreciated from Massachusetts is here's their quick synopsis. Here's how they create the plan. There's their first 3 steps on creating the plan, and here's their response. Take a look at what your vision is for the future. What do you think about analyzing for school performance, and backward design, what you see for the improvement process. And that's exactly the piece that we all think about in our own schools or in our own districts. How do we align systems? I think from a systems approach piece, this is what we're all looking for as well. What do we need to do to connect? How are we going to leverage the piece, and how do we need to build it? And again, whether you're at the district level or at the school level, this piece fits so nicely. How are we going to connect that piece of educator evaluation? How are we going to leverage the piece of the school improvement piece to the district plan? And more importantly, how are we going to build our school improvement piece within the community and connect that piece to the outward and to get the appropriate approval that we need so that it can sustain itself. How are we going to implement it, and what is it going to take to implement it? The action plan is going to need to have progress monitoring. It's going to need to have benchmarks, and if necessary, if it's not going to meet that moment for fidelity, we may have to redesign it. And I appreciated that piece as well, because I think oftentimes that that's a misstep that we sometimes miss as administrators or as school improvement team members, and that is the monitoring piece, making sure that we have appropriate benchmarks, and if something isn't working, that we do have to hit the pause button and go back and fix it. What you see here is a Michigan timeline for a high-level, high-performing school improvement process. And this is a typical timeline, a conceptual drawing, and we've shared this out previously on our one of our webinars in the past. And I wanted to make sure that you had this as well. It doesn't have dates, but it has at least the yearly timeline, and I thought this was appropriate for you to share out with your school improvement team as well. And we do recognize here in our unit that we are streamlining the process here for school improvement process. And while our office doesn't handle that piece, we do want to make sure that you have at least some of these main chunks written down, because oftentimes what ends up happening, you've got so many plates spinning that this becomes a little burdensome. And so what we wanted to try to do is make sure that we've lessened that piece for you, and we've chunked it down into manageable pieces for you and for your team members. So as we move forward, we also wanted to hit the pause button and remind you a few things about what Marzano says about ensuring valid feedback. And one of the pieces that we wanted to share out was the 5 steps to make sure that as you are moving forward, and the end of the year is going to be here faster than we know it, especially with all the celebrations that I'm sure are already on your calendar, you know, making sure that teachers have an opportunity for their self-evaluation process as well, considering using announced observations, using different lesson types, use brief unannounced walkthroughs. Number 4, please make sure that you are checking on your collective bargaining agreements and how that relates to you. Number 5, making sure that you are using your summative scores, which provide additional evidence. Make sure that you are using your vendor tool as it applies to you and your district. But we thought that that was applicable to you, and making sure that you are able to coach with your team with fidelity. One more piece on the educator evaluation, and I know we've shared this piece with you as well, but the quote was imperative, and we've shared this with the teacher webinar series as well. Evaluation systems must meet a very important standard regarding their purpose, which is to help teachers achieve high levels of instructional competence in their classrooms that result in improved student performance. If teacher performance is not improved through the evaluation process and student learning is not optimized, then the system has not achieved its purpose and is not effective. And we thought that that was the nail right on the head. So I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to share that with you because, one, the educator evaluation process should not be a standalone. Your school improvement process should not be a standalone. These pieces all fit together nicely with your entire organization and within your school. So we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to remind you how these pieces fit together. And with that being said, how can you leverage your SIP or DIP and your evaluation processes to help teachers achieve high levels of competence and increase student achievement? Thank you so much. I want to be respectful of our time this morning together, and I know that we are getting close to that 10 o'clock hour, but I'm going to ask that you continue typing and continue to take a look at your colleagues and what they've posted. I do want to mention we have this slide for you, which are key dates to remember, and this was on the michigan.gov under the school improvement website under their area. So I wanted to share this with you so that you can share this with your school improvement team and make sure that you have this available and ready at that waiting for yourself. Also, on the next slide, which I thought I would share with you, again, this is from the Massachusetts website, and you'll see two things. On the left side in orange are the district goals. This is for their school improvement process. And you'll see that the district goals align with the superintendent goals, with their administrator goals, and everything feeds with the teacher and the specialized goals. And it's a web and flow. Everything feeds right with each other. On the right-hand side, you'll see the district plan, and that is much more extensive and much more comprehensive. And when you have a couple of minutes, maybe in between lunch hours or after you have lunch duty, or maybe when you should eat your healthy lunch, but it's probably really not healthy because you've got parents waiting or students waiting, you may want to just take a look at the intricacies involved in their plan. That might give you some ideas on how to frame some things. I thought it was interesting. I liked how it fed into each other. I loved the fact that they also included their educator evaluation system within their school improvement and district improvement plan. So I wanted to make sure I shared that piece out with you. I thought it was worth a quick look, and that's why I shared it with you. As we are moving forward, again, here's our resource page. We wanted to make sure that you know how to contact us and where our information is. And so please, if you haven't bookmarked us yet as a resource, we are here for you. So please make sure it's michigan.gov/MDE-EdEvals. So please make sure that we are logged in and loaded under your favorites tab. And some sources for you. We are pulling our information from Leverage Leadership around coaching. And also some of the pieces that we found today is from Overhauling Teacher Appraisal Systems, which was a great resource that my colleague Joe Priest shared out with his teacher webinar piece. So please make sure that you take a look at that as well. And just as a reminder as well, all the information is downloadable, and you'll be able to access that piece in just a minute. Our webinar series is available. The past webinars are available as well. I hope that you'll consider joining us in April. Holy smokes, the end of the year is almost here. We do also have a Student Growth Collaborative Workshop series that talks about student learning objectives, and that will be coming around in the summer. So please look for information on that. If your district hasn't decided what student growth measure they're going to be looking at, that really needs to be decided, and so please email either myself or Joe if you're looking for information. The location has not been determined yet, but we'll be sending out information. I know a few people have responded in the Q&A about sketch credits, so we wanted to make sure that you have that link, and that link is in there. Our SLOW workshop that I was just talking about, the progression is right there, so you can see the 3-day information pieces right there for you. And again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us this beautiful Friday morning. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And again, thank you so much for all your work that you do on behalf of the students that you serve in our state. And thank you for all your efforts in making Michigan a top 10 and 10 state. And thank you for joining us this morning. And if you have any questions, please make sure that you let us know. And remember, in order to get your sketch credit, you have to complete the survey. And that link is right there available on your webinar. So please complete that link. And thank you for joining us. It's been our pleasure.